All right, what's up, my brothers? We have a requested video today from a gentleman who's 42 and contemplating marriage because his wife is talking to other dudes. Let's hop right into this and read his request. He says, situation, I have one-itis. I got married and focused on my career. I am recently separated. I've been single for 10 plus years. The wife constantly complained about the lack of attention and romance. Intimacy average every 8 days or so. Use sex as a reward for attention and good behavior. I do not mind giving attention or romance, but as an executive, I get busy or in my own head, i.e., daydreamer. She saw it as a diss to her, despite multiple conversations on this topic together with a couples therapist. Never a good sign when you're dealing with that. I discovered recently that she'd been texting a previous coworker who flirts with her and she doesn't shut him down. Example, hey, I'm married, etc. I do not know if it's more. She admits she did like the attention, but never reciprocated the feelings. But over the course of 6 months, she would ping him. Sorry, she would ping him, respond as a friend. Oh, I see. Hey, what's up? What have you been doing every month or so? I do not have proof of anything more than just texting. I lost my cool and asked her to leave, even though it's half her house. That's kind of an alpha move to throw her out of the house. um, I do not have proof. So she's living with a friend while we decided what the next steps are going to be. I do not know what is next. I'm talking to a divorce lawyer or a personal therapist to explore the options. Divorce lawyer will give you your legal options. Therapists are they're a coin toss, man. It's like rolling the dice. You don't know if you're going to get a 1 or a 6. Anyway, here's his stats. He says 42. He has 2 kids, but they're in the late 20s. I'm assuming from a prior relationship, if you were married to this lady for just over 10 years. 19.5% body fat, 176 pounds, and 5'3". That's not a great combo. Executive in Fin or Tech, SMB, average quarter mil in Dallas Fort Worth, already working on improving. Next role should pay 300K plus. Current net worth $450,000. I've said many times, guys, you want to aim to be a millionaire as a guy by at least 30, ideally 40, the latest. So he's behind the ball in a few areas. He's overweight. He doesn't have height going for him, which there's nothing you can do about it, but lots of guys do just fine. We'll talk about that in a bit. I'm sure that's a bone of contention for him as well. So he's got fears or concerns. Height is my biggest concern. Of course, there it is, right? It is hard already for men, and that stat just makes it worse. Can lose weight, but not sure if I will get down to sub 14% body fat. Dude, you totally can. Loss of backup income from wife, 40,000. Guy's making $250,000 a year, and he's worried about the $40,000 income that she's bringing to the table. It's like he's making tens of thousands of dollars a month, and she's like, "Well, I want to do my share. Here's my $90 sort of thing, right?" Anyway, Eddie Murphy used to make jokes about that back in the day. Comfortable being married, but part of your problem that you ran into is you got lazy. Betatization through 1,000 concessions. You got lazy in the LTR. Weren't giving her enough attention. She started looking elsewhere, and you probably lost a lot of game too. And you gained a lot of weight apparently too. And do not want to be single. So not only are you comfortable being a married guy, but you also do not want to be single again because of effort, chances, and age. Have a $275,000 home mortgage at 2%. It's nothing for a home worth 400K. Do not want to lose it in a divorce because renting is now more expensive than owning, but also do not want to lose my cash or investments. Well, you're going to lose half your shit, bro. You get married, there's division of assets. You can talk to a lawyer in your state and find out what that looks like to get that clarity, but you're going to lose a chunk of your shit. Some places it's more than 50%. Some places it's 50%. Some places it might be less. Judging by her income and the fact that you live in Texas, you're probably going to have to split it down the middle. Alimony maybe on the table, I would imagine. I'm not sure what the law is there, but sounds like the kids are grown up, so you don't have to worry about child support or her manipulating kids or parental alienation. So that's a good thing. He says, I will never be big or stoic. I am more easygoing and flirtatious. Well, you clearly weren't flirtatious in your marriage, because if she's going looking for attention elsewhere, she wasn't getting much in a household, I would imagine. I read The Game back when it came out, and I did. He says he date 8 women at the time, which is his max. However, it is a lot of work. The idea of being single again gives me anxiety. To his point, dating a bunch of women simultaneously is a handful. Spinning plates is fun, but look, every guy at some point when they're dating a bunch of women spinning plates, they get involved with a few and they're like, let me see how many more I can add to the rotation. And they get to like whatever. I think generally speaking, when guys get over about 3 or 4 women simultaneously dating, it starts to get a handful. Texting a bunch of women simultaneously, it's it's a lot of work, and the payoff isn't that great, generally speaking. So a lot of dudes get frustrated with it. I mean, you have to have solid game, and you have to really know how to set strong boundaries and be okay with walking away, which a lot of guys kind of struggle with, if we're being honest. And he goes on to say, I have no local network. 2 friends are married, brothers in the area married, do not have single friends. And he goes on to say, if I get divorced, is my age an issue? No. Um, at 42, it's not an issue for you. You still look relatively young from the pictures that you linked in the social. You're a bit overweight, and yes, you're not that tall, so you've got that going against you. But the weight problem you can fix. I've always said, if you're not tall, you better be jacked, funny, and rich. I don't know if you're funny. I don't know. You're definitely not jacked, and you're not. I mean, as a 42-year-old, you're not particularly wealthy. I'm not sure what happened to the income, because you've got a strong income, but only having a net worth of $450,000 isn't giving you probably the level of freedom that you'd expect from a 40-something-year-old guy. I think, generally speaking, women have a lot of patience for a younger hot dude with a plan. So 22-year-old guy who's a Chad, looks great, but he has a plan for life. Women have patience for guys like that. Like they'll spend more than just a night fling with him. But if you're an older guy and you've got some money and a plan, or no money in a plan, or average money in a plan, you're definitely going to have a harder time, especially as a shorter gentleman. Let's just put it that way. So he says, should I move to a better sexual marketplace? If so, where in the US for 5'3"? So I guess so let's go through these one by one. Age an issue? No. How many years can I be realistically single and happy? Forever. I know a lot of guys that are in their 40s that are single and happy as shit. They're not willing to invite any women into their lives. They start to realize. So to this guy's point, he hasn't been dating for a long time. So as a 42-year-old guy, you're going to get on the sexual marketplace. You're going to find a lot of women are single moms with baggage. And the ones that aren't single moms might have other kinds of baggage, like a pet collection in their house, or an obsession with cats, or something like that. Debt. There's other things that come along for the ride. Generally speaking, in your 40s, if you've got your life sorted out, you should be dating younger women. Okay. That would be my advice. At least 10, maybe 15 years younger than you. It's just easier to find more attractive women that are more willing to enter your frame, because as women get older, they become more singleized. They've gone through a whole bunch of dudes, maybe been married once or twice. They've got a notch count. They might have a pet collection. They've got a little bit of a history going on. I've always said, a man's value, like, women look at a man's future. Like, what is his capacity in the future, in her interest? And what a guy should be looking at is her past. What does she do with her past? Was she a party chick? Did she run through a lot of dudes? Like, all these things are things that you need to consider. Guys need to be considered with a woman's past, because women are very concerned with your future. So can you be single and happy? If you're single and happy by yourself is the answer to that, right? If you attribute your happiness to having a chick on your arm, or, identifying yourself on social media as, I'm married, and tagging your wife and everything, and, oh, if it wasn't for her, I'd be nothing, sort of thing, like one of those dorks. There's lots of those guys out there. Once you see them, you can't unsee them. It usually goes something like the guy praising his wife over the years, and then if you click on her profile, there's no mention of him whatsoever. It's just her and her girlfriends, or her and the kids, or her and a dog, and usually he's not even tagged or mentioned. But every time it's her birthday or the anniversary, these low life beta males that have been betatized will praise her and put her up on a pedestal. And if you're one of those guys, you're probably better off being married. So the single and happy part, can you realistically be single and happy? I don't know. Can you be single and happy by yourself? Can you be happy with your own company? Or do you need to have a chick in your house, in your life, as, your company? Because You had this one in your life, and I don't know what you were doing with your time, but she's seeking attention from other dudes. So is she a garden tool? Maybe. Did you not give her enough attention? Maybe. Is it a combination of those things? Most likely. I don't know. There's not enough information here for me to really, draw any kind of conclusion. So I'm just sort of speculating in some different areas. He says, "Is the juice worth the squeeze?" Look, so to the question of, because he's saying, if I get divorced, is the juice worth the squeeze? In the situation that you're in with grown-up kids, and you've been married for 10 years, you're going to have to give up half your wealth or a good portion of it. And the state is not going to let her become a poor $40,000 a year woman. They're going to make sure that she's looked after to whatever degree the state says, family law says, that she has to be looked after. So if you're okay with giving up some of your shit, which I don't really see a problem with personally myself, money is not that difficult to make. You can always make more money. You can never make more time. You're going to burn through what? So option one is burn through your 40s, 50s, and 60s, let's say, dealing with a chick that doesn't have genuine desire for you, that's chatting up other guys that you only have sex with once every 8 days or something like that. There's that option. Or you can be single, give up half your shit, start a new life, fix your game, fix your frame, maybe be happy by yourself. Like I said earlier, a lot of guys I know today, they don't even want to invite women into their lives because they look at the sexual marketplace and they go, you don't really have much to offer to me, right? I've got my money sorted. I got my house paid off. I got da 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 da. And what do you got? 3 kids from 3 different fathers and a whole bunch of credit card debt and a bunch of cats, right? So a lot of guys look at the sexual marketplace and they say, I'll date, I'll spin plates, I'll have friends with benefits, whatever, around that age. If they're high enough value, like if they're higher value on the sexual marketplace, they can deal with younger women. They can have younger, hotter women in their frame and, be very happy with that. So it really depends on where you are on that spectrum. It doesn't sound to me like you hold yourself in very high regard. You're hung up on your height and you're fat and you don't have a ton of money for your age. So you decide. I'll let you figure that out for yourself. You guys can comment below and let them know what you think if you've been in a similar boat. Should I move to a better sexual marketplace? That's entirely up to you. Like, are there other places in the world? Like, Texas is a pretty decent state as far as the US goes. Like, friendly to masculinity, generally friendly to fathers, a lot less, wokeness in that state. So where are you going to find that's going to be better than Texas? I don't know. I don't know what your options are. Do you like mountains? Do you like seaside? That's something you're going to have to figure out yourself. So I'll let you sort that out. If so, where in the U.S. for a 5'3" high value male? Let me just correct you there. You're not a high value male. A high value male in his 40s is going to have a net worth well over $1 million, probably $5 million plus. Like having less than a net worth of $1 million in your 40s is not high value. Women certainly wouldn't look at you. So I always try to defer to the sexual selectors when it comes to making making these labels stick. I always say, guys can't claim, to be an alpha or a beta, for example. It's women and people that look at you that will make that determination. So given how you're describing yourself as overweight and not particularly wealthy, yeah, you can move wherever you want in the US, but for the most part, in the more prosperous states, urban coastal cities, Miami, New York, LA, stuff like that, you're not going to be seen as a high value male by women being overweight, not that tall, which again, there's nothing you can do about, and not being particularly wealthy. And you're going to lose a lot of that wealth giving it up to her. So I hope you can figure out how to make it rain if you leave her, because you're also going to be leaving a chunk of your wealth behind. So where outside of the U.S., again, entirely up to you. He says he knows a little bit of Spanish. Wife was Colombian. If you like Colombian chicks, sure, go to Colombia if you want, if that's your thing. How do I address my concerns above? Well, first of all, the 2 things that are within your control. So let's just set aside height completely. And I'm going to say this again, and people get pissed off, and I really don't give a fuck. I'm going to say it again. I know lots of guys that are short that do fine with women. Is it going to be harder for you versus me? I'm about a foot taller than you. Yes, of course it's going to be harder. So again, if you're not tall, be jacked, funny, and rich, right? Be captivating, have interesting hobbies, have a good social network. Those are the things that you can address. So when you say, how do I address my concerns above? Address the things that you can control, right? Figure out how to make it rain and make some serious money. Get rid of the weight, right? I mean, being almost 20% body fat at 5'3" is utterly unacceptable. It's totally unacceptable. You need to fix that. How can I meet like-minded people in the community in my area, build a network, and make friends? This question always comes up. How do I find a community of like-minded, unplugged, red-pilled guys sort of things? I'll say it again. My community is at the 1%. Join it, for crying out loud. Throw the banner up. There it is on the bottom. entrepreneursincars.com/community. But you're going to be held accountable. And if you make up bullshit or you try to, move away from the subject of reality of the work that needs to be done, you're going to be called out. So if you're a lazy guy that just wants to join a community hoping that, the tide will raise all ships sort of thing, no, you're going to have to do work. You're going to be like a stone and you're going to sink to the bottom if you don't do the work. So there's that to consider. You can try to build a network outside of that. But again, I mean, if you're looking for like-minded men that are unplugged, that are doing the work on their lives and leveling up and have a good network and, they work with one another, just, beyond networking and like hanging out sort of things like in real life events. A lot of these guys in my community do business together. They help each other out. We've got across the entire spectrum of guys in every area, in every facet of life out there. Okay. And anyway, take a look at it. I'm not going to chirp on it anymore. You can learn out for yourself. Appreciate the help. So that's really it. He's just contemplating, do I get divorced or not? I think you have your answer. At the end of this video, it should be clear to you. It should be like taking a frying pan to the forehead. It should be obvious. If it's not obvious, spend some time thinking about it. Weigh out your pros and cons and make a decision for it. But if you're going to leave, it's not going to be quick and easy. Talk to your lawyer about what the cost is going to be with your assets. One of the cold hard truth bombs that you're going to have to accept, my friend, is that even if you leave this marriage, even if you leave this Colombian chick that likes talking to other dudes, that claims she's not porking them or anything like that, even if you leave her, if you move into another relationship with another chick and you haven't fixed yourself, your game, your frame, the level of captivation, the fact that you have to become as a guy, make serious wealth, you've got this delusion in your head that you're a high value guy, but you're not because you haven't fixed many areas of your life. You're going to run into similar problems with another chick that potentially brings more baggage to the table than the one that you're with right now. Okay. You're going to give up half your shit probably to leave this one. So now you're left with, whatever's left over, and you invite a new chick in your life. On a balance of probabilities, you're not going to find a hot 27-year-old that's going to be in your frame that complements your life, is very agreeable, and wants to bang you every single day of the week. You're probably not. You're probably going to find some single mommy with a bunch of kids in tow from a bunch of different guys with some headaches that you probably wouldn't be dealing with had you stayed married. So I think really what you need to do is take a good hard look in the mirror and hold that motherfucker accountable and make sure you do the work with him, because whether you do it in your current relationship or in the next one that you move into, or if you're going to remain single for the rest of your life, doesn't matter. You're going to need to do the work. The delusion that you have right now is that if you just leave this relationship and go to the next one, everything will be fixed. Everything's hunky-dory. That's not true. Anyway, what do you guys think? Leave a comment below. Hit the like button for the algorithms. Pin into the top comment. A bunch of useful links. If you want to make a request, for a video like this, there's a link there for that. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.